As you saw earlier in the newscast, young Canadians are struggling to find work. The data is discouraging. The title of a new report asks the question, why has youth unemployment, why has the rate increased by so much, so fast? LJ Valencia is an economist at Desjardins, co-author of the report. He's in Toronto. It's nice to see you, Mr. Valencia.
Thank you so much, Todd. I'm very happy to be here.
If the economy contracts this quarter, Canada will officially be in recession, but it would seem young Canadians are already there.
Yeah, I mean, we've been seeing an unprecedented rise in youth unemployment over the past, and this is not just a one-time thing. It's been happening for almost 3 years now. And so, yeah, I mean, especially as economic activity continues to slow down, what often happens is that youth are the first ones that are hit. And so there's more adverse impacts that youth may face as the economy grinds to a halt and job opportunities continue to decline.
Yeah. We're talking about that age group, 15 to 24. How does their unemployment rate compare to, say, other age groups?
Significantly higher, I'd say. It's definitely at a level that is concerning, to say the least. And again, that highlights, the sort of bleak job market outcomes that a lot of younger folks in the economy are facing. And that really is a problem because, early sort of lack of job opportunities at this sort of early stage of the career can have many sort of significant adverse impacts on career development, earnings potential, and sort of future job prospects as well.
Right, because we're not just talking about young people who may be working through high school or trying to work in the summers to save for university. These are a lot of young people who have just graduated perhaps from college or university and are trying to get that foot in the door with a first career, and they could get knocked off track here pretty quickly.
Absolutely. I mean, we're talking about the future of our labor force right here, right? I mean, if they're sort of hampered and they've sort of faced this sort of disadvantage or difficult working environment, that could really have some significant impacts, not just on their careers, but also for the overall state of the economy in the coming months and quarters and years ahead.
If we're talking, that the unemployment rate is in that demographic is twice as high as some others, are there a number of people in that age group who have just decided not to participate, who've just decided there's no work to be had, I'm not even going to bother looking?
That's right. And that trend has more so been significant with the teenage sort of component of the labor force. So that's workers aged 15 to 19. And we've seen some significant declines in that cohort. That said, that hasn't stemmed the rise in the unemployment rate, that even though younger workers have stopped looking for jobs, employment opportunities continue to decline. And that's reflected in the rising unemployment rate.
So what's behind it? Why is it so tough to find a job?
I mean, there's a few sort of factors that are driving this. I mean, first, there's been an increase in recent years in immigration to meet Canada's labor demands following the end of the pandemic. Now, as economic activity continued to slow down, a lot of those newcomers and temporary residents also happen to fall under the much younger cohorts that correspond with youth. There's, as the economy continued to slow down, there hasn't been as much job opportunities for them, and we have the supply of workers in the economy who may not be able to find jobs as a result.
So temporary reform workers, that has been, you mentioned it. Where are these the unskilled jobs? We think the front lines of fast food, retail, that type of thing, or is that having an impact in, first jobs and careers as well?
I think it's a much broader sort of trend that we're seeing here. Now, retail trade continues to be a much significant employer of youth in general, but there's been a much greater sort of industry diversification when it comes to who employs youth. So it's not just, pertaining to, one sector overall, but this is just a broader problem in general.
What about issues of pay, wages? Minimum wage, we know, has been increased across the country, and we have heard from retailers and business that they've cut back on the amount of hiring they've had to do because of that. What has your research, if anything, indicated?
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that, Todd. That's actually been one of the sort of angles that we've looked at in our research. And what we found is that, while minimum wages have increased, and that's good for younger workers in general, who happen to, you know, a lot of roughly around 50% used to, sorry, not used to, but work in minimum wage professions last year. That has also sort of had this paradoxical effect of prompting uh, companies to invest in labor saving technologies to hire fewer folks, and so it has that sort of counteracting effect that you've mentioned as well, and so we've seen that play out, as we've done in our research.
Only a couple seconds left here, but AI and the gig economy surely having an impact.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of disruption that we've seen from artificial intelligence. Now, it remains to be seen whether we'll see some sort of those things play out in the Canadian labor market. But there's been studies, for example, a study in the United States that showed, workers age around 22, I think 25, have seen significant employment losses as a result of increased automation towards AI. And so that could be a trend that we could see here in Canada moving forward as well.
LJ Valencia, it is a very thorough report from Desjardins. People can find that online. Thank you for coming on and breaking down those numbers for us.
Thank you so much for having me, Todd. And again, it's a pleasure to be here.
My pleasure. We'll take a break. We're back in 2 minutes. Stay with us.